This is Crete waterproofing primer and sealer. Very important. I use Arteza 100% acrylic paints. Comes in a pretty good sized pack. It's like 30 different colors, I think. Anyway, 20 colors. Mix that with water, thin it out, slap it on. But the first part of the process, you seal it. I take a bowl, pour some of this in it, take an old brush. That's what I used on the front porch. It's just beat up. You slap the sealer on there. You let it sit for about an hour is all it takes for it to dry. And that absorbs into the pores, gives it a little bit of a primer effect. The paint sticks to it good, and then you go back over that again over your paint when it's dry. It's sealed into the concrete. It'll last a long time. So anyway, I'm going to go grab my tools. We're getting ready to brush this off with a broom real quick, get all the grass cleaned back out of the way and the excess little bits of concrete, and we're fixing to get started. I am so excited, and I'm hoping that you are too. Okay, now we're going to let it dry after I sprayed it. I only did that to make sure that I had all the loose concrete in the cracks and everything out of the way. You just want a nice, solid, dry, working surface. So I opted to spray it off because it's so stinking hot out here. It'll dry off really quick. So we're going to wait about 30 minutes. Then we're going to get started slapping some of that sealer on, and then it won't be long and we'll be putting paint on. You're going to need an assortment of different sized brushes, and there's a lot of artistic leeway. There's no way to teach this. There's no recipe for any of this. You just have to be willing to experiment. And the cool thing is, if you mess up, just paint back over it. This is almost dummy proof. Very hard to mess this up. Keep working your way along. You just want all the cracks completely filled in. I just mix mine up in small batches as I go, because there's nothing worse than being stuck if you finish up too soon and then you got a half a cup of black paint that's wasted. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning, July the 3rd, a little bit before 7 o'clock. I got up and around about an hour ago and just waited on good light. I want to get started early this morning because yesterday my phones kept giving me the emergency warning for overheating, which is pretty normal here in Oklahoma this time of year. So I got all my gear. You need plenty of plastic cups so you can mix different colors without intermixing your dirty water. You need a paint set that's fully acrylic, multiple colors. I prefer the Arteza brand, you know that. A big container of water. I'm going to put some fresh water in that real fast, and an assortment of brushes, and you're ready to rock and roll. And I'm getting ready to get started right now. Enough talk. Let's lay some paint. Okay, so you don't want to get caught up in concentrating too long of a time on each individual rock to start off with. I've just got some basic brown mixed up here. I'm going to experiment with it just a little bit on an area that's a little more inconspicuous. That ain't going to be a big enough brush. And the paint is too thick, so add a little more water. I know this is going to look a little weird to start off with, just bear with me. Any runs that you get can just be brushed out, and then, believe it or not, that's going to look pretty cool. Trying to stay out of the way of the camera. You know, one thing that nobody ever told me when I got started trying to do this YouTube channel, the only time that anybody ever sees me on YouTube, I look like I'm semi-homeless because I've always got on my old raggedy clothes because it's a how-to channel. And so I'm always working. But just a full disclaimer, I clean up nice. Maybe one of these days I'll film an episode of me and Mama going out to eat or something, so you won't think this is all I ever do. You may want to look back on photographs of some natural stone from your area and use that as a reference while you're actually working. I've done that before where I had some photographs of native stone sitting right by me so I could look at them. So I don't know if you can tell it. I know there's a lot of light colors there, but it's already looking stone-like. And it only just keeps getting better. Now we're going to start experimenting with a couple of different colors. And I think you're going to be surprised what those colors are. I may be moving the camera around quite a bit, guys. I'm sorry. It's hard to do a video this way sometimes because I want to show you different segments of what I'm doing, and sometimes it's easier just to grab the camera and move it as it is to say hold on. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back with you. Real quick, every time I mix a different color, I save the cups that I've got the color mixed in because there's still a little color and water left in there. And if I have to go back and revisit anything, it's really easy. Then the only thing I'm tasked with is washing my brush off occasionally, just make sure I don't overblend the colors. But on rock like this, we're not making a Picasso here, so it's typically not a problem. So now we're going to go with maybe a super deep green color. And so we're going to definitely have to go back to black. And then we're going to have to go with this is going to end up making more like an army green, but that's okay too. Come on, dude. Keep it real. Alright. Take a little squirt of that. Add a little water. Mix her up and see what she looks like. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Wow. Looks good. I don't know if you can see it from the camera. My creative juices are flowing. I think it's going to look pretty cool. A lot of the rocks around this place, they'll grow a moss on them, and this kind of what this is taking on the look of. See this where you see there's no paint? Big deal. We're going to go back over that probably with a little more black in a little bit, so it ain't even going to matter. I'm telling you, that looks good. And see, a blind squirrel does find an acorn every now and then. Oh, Shaw hit one out of the park just now. Now, you don't want to get hung up with doing too much of that in one spot. So we're going to go random. And just ever so often, we're going to hit the edge of one, maybe a little on the top. Blend that in with the brown. But you don't want to get too carried away. Okay, on this next color, I have mixed mango, Dijon, and Battleship Gray together to get a kind of a mustard color, which is common in the Oklahoma stone. Let's see what this looks like. And check the camera one more time. Looks good. And this is a multi-layered project, and it's time consuming. But it's not real super labor intensive. You did the hard part when you laid the concrete and carved in the mortar lines on this stuff. The rest of this is where the magic happens, and this is what I call the fun part. So once you get to this point, you don't mind if you spend hours doing this. It's going to pay off. And your neighbors and friends are going to go, my God, you are a literal genius. How did you do that? and then you can steer them to my videos. I kid. Just get out there and try it. Don't be afraid of this stuff. If a goober like me can make this happen, I promise you, you can. I tell my wife all the time, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Okay, so I decided on a whim to mix a little black and battleship gray together to where it's not exactly black, but it is fairly dark. And you'll see in this general area right here, that's actually adding a lot of body to this. I kind of like that look. So I'm going to go through here and just occasionally, I do want this top edge defined a little bit. I'm going to repaint the deck. So I don't care if I get some, excuse me, I don't care if I get some paint on the deck board itself. Okay, real quick, I'm going to show you what I got so far. I softened up that green just a little bit with my dark color, and that's really starting to come along. It's starting to take on the look of natural stone. So far, I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing. And now we're going to go progressively lighter. And we're going to add maybe a mustard color or a cream. Yeah, that's going to look good. Be right back with you. Kind of a mustard color. Let's see what that looks like. I think after watching this dry a little bit, I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. I think I'm going to call this good. Okay guys, so that's a wrap on the freeform concrete for the deck. Painting. It is a manual labor project, but it's fairly cheap. You got to plan on a couple of weekends, maybe 3 weekends, depending on your timeline. If you're like me and have a full-time job, I fought the weather a lot as usual. We've had a lot of sunny days here recently though, so it's been good. Anyway, I showed you everything I use, tools and materials, and I encourage you to get out there and try it yourself. It's not a big deal. You can hardly mess this up. My future videos, I've got a few still lined up, but any content that you'd be interested in seeing me do a video on, don't be afraid to tell me. I'm here to help you guys. I do these things because I love it, and I just want to pass on what little I know to the rest of the world. So hang in there. You're a weekend warrior like me. Don't be afraid to try it. Shoot me a thumbs up if you like the video, if you got any good out of the content. And hey, if you're interested in it, subscribe. I don't ever ask for subscriptions to my channel. If you like it, you do. If you don't, you don't. But I put a lot of work into this. Anyway, I love you guys. For Oklahoma, this is Shaw, signing off.